Hello everyone, welcome to the Tim Booker channel. Wishing you an enjoyable listening experience. Today, I'm decoding 7 Rules of Power. The subtitle is a bit long, surprising but true advice on how to get things done and advance your career. The author of this book is Jeffrey Pfeffer, a professor of organizational behavior at Stanford University in the United States. What exactly is organizational behavior? Essentially, it's a field that specifically studies human behavior and attitudes within organizations. The power referred to in the book title is the result of these behaviors and attitudes. In English, it corresponds to the word power, which is actually a rather broad concept. It's not just about the kind of power held by leaders, where they give orders to others. Instead, it's the ability within an organization to get things done, to influence, also known as workplace power. Professor Pfeffer teaches a course at Stanford called The Paths to Power, one of the most popular elective courses at the university. The course delves into why we need workplace power and how to attain and maintain it. This book can be seen as a distillation of that course. Many Stanford students have said that this course truly helped them understand the world they've always been in. Yet, there are some students who approached it out of curiosity, thinking they could rely solely on their skills and were not interested in power. The author recalls an encounter with a former student outside of school who found the course useful, but in a way that convinced him he didn't want to follow what was taught. Later, this student co-founded an investment company but decided to minimize the concentration of power within it. The author acknowledged this approach, saying that after learning the path to power, it's entirely acceptable to decide not to walk that way. Coincidentally, years later, the author encountered the same student again and asked about the progress of the investment company. Surprisingly, the student reluctantly admitted being ousted by partners and leaving the company. Despite intending to eliminate power dynamics within the company, they ended up being the one removed. This incident offers 2 reminders. Firstly, in the workplace, power is a survival tool. Even if you don't aim for advancement but just to survive and thrive, having workplace power is essential. Secondly, power acts as armor. Even if you choose not to use these power dynamics, others might. It's crucial to understand what's happening to avoid being trapped in situations. There's actually a third lesson, beyond what the story tells us, more feedback from those who've embraced the author's power evolution theory. Power is a leverage of abilities. The author has conducted executive training courses in 28 countries and provided consulting services to numerous companies. Many individuals who were once on the fringes of organizations, after employing the methods taught by the author to enhance workplace power, gained more recognition for their contributions and their opinions were respected, eventually becoming significant figures in their teams or organizations. The author admits that while he'd like to attribute this success to his teachings, these individuals already had excellent educational backgrounds and strong capabilities. Their potential was restricted previously by external factors or personal traits, such as being young or having limited experience, being a minority female in the company, or being too agreeable, only realizing their worth later. The goal of this power evolution theory is to provide these talented individuals with a lever for their abilities, allowing them to fully utilize their capabilities and efforts, even multiplying their impact, to achieve what they rightfully deserve. You might have sensed it earlier. I've been giving you a psychological massage, explaining why workplace power is significant, urging you not to dismiss it. Next, let's delve into the main part of today's interpretation, how to enhance your workplace power. However, as the book mentions, whether a person fundamentally desires power or how they wish to pursue it depends entirely on them. In other words, this book serves as a martial arts manual handed to you. How you use it is entirely up to you. How to enhance your workplace power. From this book, we can see it's a process of breaking before building. Let's discuss what needs breaking first. Firstly, it's the imposter syndrome. You might have heard of this term in psychology. It refers to successful individuals who doubt their abilities, feeling like imposters. They tend to downplay their achievements when introducing themselves, highlighting weaknesses instead of strengths. The author believes this behavior significantly weakens personal power because how you see yourself affects the impression you give others. If you don't believe in your abilities, it inadvertently signals negativity to others, potentially hindering your career. How to change this? Start by reconsidering how you describe yourself to others. Identify negative descriptions and eliminate them. Be mindful not to downplay your accomplishments deliberately, instead, highlight them. For instance, a female student mentioned being the only woman in her team and the youngest, with limited experience. The author reframed this, emphasizing her unique qualifications, being from a top business school, skilled in analytics, and having led impactful projects. It's about presenting multiple perspectives, focusing on strengths while avoiding damaging self-descriptions, regardless of their fairness or accuracy. But what if you lack confidence? The author suggests studying someone in a higher position and comparing differences. Often, you'll find you're on par or better in certain aspects, which can alleviate imposter syndrome. Another method is pushing yourself, even if uncomfortable, actively showcase your abilities and gradually become more comfortable. It's a process. The first break we discussed was overcoming the imposter syndrome, a step towards workplace power. Now, let's talk about the next break, rejecting the obsession with winning others' favor. Some people excessively seek approval, fearing others won't like them. However, the book highlights the downside: excessive enthusiasm might imply lower competence. Research from Princeton shows people judge others on warmth and competence. Interestingly, these dimensions are perceived negatively correlated. Being overly enthusiastic might raise doubts about competence. Harvard Business School's study on book reviews found that reviewers with negative feedback were perceived as smarter and more professional. While discomforting, it's a common psychological bias. Thus, the renowned book Influence suggests prioritizing showcasing competence over friendliness in new environments. Establishing capability early prevents appearing weak later, even when displaying warmth. The book also offers advice: leaders shouldn't readily expose their weaknesses. While revealing vulnerabilities can foster connections, it may undermine authority and credibility for leaders. For everyone, being cautious about exposing weaknesses is essential. The author suggests refraining from frequent apologies or hesitating to express legitimate demands or opinions due to fear of offense. But you might worry about colleagues disliking you and its impact on your career. Long-term studies indicate likability negatively impacts career success for both genders. Those overly concerned about likability might overlook career advancement opportunities. Contrarily, individualism, or being decisive, shows no significant impact on power enhancement. It has both assertive and generous actions. However, this attitude should not disregard how actions affect others. In essence, while social relationships matter, focusing excessively on being liked shouldn't overshadow your goals, sacrificing your interests and plans. Alright, earlier, we talked about breaking the obsession with winning others' favor. Now, let's discuss another break: breaking conventions. Why does breaking conventions bring power? Numerous psychology studies indicate that people subconsciously believe only those with power can break conventions. So, when someone goes against the norm, they appear more powerful to others. This sense of power derived from breaking conventions sometimes creates tangible opportunities. In the book, an incident is highlighted where a Stanford University student wanted to attend a high-profile dinner to expand her network. However, it was an invite-only event, and as an unknown student, she wouldn't be invited. Remembering her Forbes magazine contribution, she emailed the event organizers, presenting herself as a Forbes contributor, omitting she was a student, and directly asked to attend. Surprisingly, they offered her 2 dinner slots to choose from. She purposely waited 48 hours to reply, mentioning availability only on Saturday. Later, after successfully securing an invite, she brought her boyfriend along, surprising the greeters but gaining entry for both. These seemingly minor actions she took were considered unconventional, actions people wouldn't expect from an unknown person. These actions sent signals of power to the organizers, making them perceive her as someone significant and ultimately providing her the opportunity she desired. Breaking conventions also has another benefit: it catches others off guard, somewhat akin to a surprise attack on a battlefield. Political scientist Toffler, in his book The Power Shift, mentioned that when the weaker party in a conflict takes non-traditional actions, their chances of success increase by 29% to 64%. In real life, employing such tactics sometimes catches others off guard, leading them to agree without much thought or even failing to prevent you. For instance, the renowned angel investor Jason Calacanis, author of the book Angel, How to Invest in Technology Startups, approached his college dean without an appointment, explaining his family's financial struggle and immediately secured a well-paying part-time job at the business school's computer lab. These surprise tactics not only benefit from catching people off guard but also significantly influence their emotions and cognition. Scholars explain this through neurobiology. Surprise momentarily freezes the brain for a fraction of a second, triggering intense curiosity and drawing people's attention, satisfying their curiosity. Unexpected events grab about 12% more attention. So, if you want to leave a lasting impression, try an unconventional move: pluck the string of surprise in their brains. Regarding breaking conventions, the book details numerous specific examples, but in essence, it can be summarized in 2 sentences. First, if there's no loss, dare to try. If the worst-case scenario is rejection, why not attempt it? Second, if it's not prohibited, it's time to experiment. If something you believe benefits the team or yourself and hasn't been attempted, the author's advice is to go ahead, even if seeking forgiveness later is necessary, better than missing the opportunity. However, many people fear breaking conventions. Hence, the author offers some advice. If existing rules lead to victory, diligently follow and uphold them. But often, especially in an organization, these norms are tilted towards rulemakers and those in advantageous positions. In such cases, why adhere to rules disadvantaging oneself? If you confine yourself within societal expectations and rules that don't favor you, it's essentially bowing down to a bleak, unfair destiny with limited prospects. The author's stance is clear: you can break all rules except one. Never forget to adhere to the rule that allows you to break conventions. Okay, what we just discussed was all about breaking in the process of establishing. Now let's talk about establishing. Firstly, in order to enhance one's authority in the workplace, it's important to consciously adopt a high-power posture. What does that entail? From the book, we can summarize it into 3 aspects: image, body language, and verbal communication. Image posture mainly refers to your attire. Think about what message you want to convey through your appearance and aim to adapt your clothing accordingly. A simpler method is to find a role model and emulate their dressing style. Regarding body language, postures that emit high-power signals involve using more gestures while speaking, adopting a more relaxed posture, maintaining closer proximity, and utilizing eye contact more often. As for verbal communication, it includes higher volume, shorter sentences, clearer expressions, more unrestrained laughter, and fewer instances of using weak language like and similar phrases. However, while these aspects enhance your influence, they might slightly reduce your likability. Hence, it's advisable to selectively apply them based on your immediate objectives. The author particularly emphasizes the strategic use of anger as an emotion. Expressing anger is seen as a sophisticated tactic, as studies show that people subconsciously perceive those who display anger as more powerful and intelligent, thus releasing a stronger sense of authority. When peers work together, if one person displays anger, they can exert a stronger influence on others. This is why the famous General Patton used to practice frowning in front of a mirror. Next, after establishing a strong personal posture, the book discusses the importance of building a powerful personal brand. Why? Because in the journey to cultivate power, it's vital for others to remember you. Creating a personal brand essentially involves highlighting your most outstanding strengths, turning them into brand identities, making it easier for others to remember you. How to achieve this? Firstly, connect yourself with renowned individuals or organizations. For instance, if you're friends with a famous person, you can openly discuss this with others. Research shows that if a person has friends with a prominent status, others tend to perceive that person as more capable. There's a famous story about a friend of Lord Rothschild who wanted a loan. Initially declining the request, Rothschild later said, "But I can walk with you hand in hand through the stock exchange hall, and soon enough, many people will be eager to lend you money." This illustrates how the status and reputation of friends can influence people's judgments of you. Additionally, graduating from a prestigious school or having worked at a famous company, participating in significant projects can also become brand identities. Utilize these when seizing critical opportunities. For instance, like the author's student who secured a spot at a high-profile dinner by claiming to be a Forbes contributor. Each opportunity obtained from these initial labels can become a new label for you, leading to more opportunities. The book terms this the flywheel effect in building a personal brand. Aside from brand identities, you need your personal brand statement, essentially telling your story. Everyone needs a basic story, especially in their self-introduction. The book provides a basic template. Start with a couple of sentences about your expertise and achievements, then intertwine these with your personal experiences. For instance, there's a founder named Walker who specialized in providing beauty products for people of color. He often talked about how, being a person of color himself, he had coarse hair and suffered from razor burns while shaving, leading to his determination to create suitable products for people of color. His story aligns with the concept of a typical hero's journey, which naturally attracts people, making them fond of and impressed by you. Besides the basic self-introduction story, you should also be able to narrate stories about your work achievements. The author refers to this as sweat and credit. An example given is Deborah Liu, the former vice president of marketing at Facebook, who initially believed in silent hard work. After seeking guidance, she learned the importance of sharing her or her team's stories to claim deserved credit. For instance, when leading a difficult project with limited resources, Deborah embedded this project into a broader narrative about tackling the monetization challenge on mobile platforms, which was crucial for the company's future. She used this story to rally resources for her team and even pitched the idea to Zuckerberg. Afterward, this success became a new story, about how a small team achieved innovation at a crucial moment. Deborah and her team learned to boldly communicate their story, which spread widely within Facebook, inspiring more teams. However, many people may be reluctant to tell their stories because they perceive it as self-promotion and lacking humility. Deborah also had this mindset initially, but she changed because she gave new meaning to narrating her brand story. Once, when she met another woman hesitant about sharing her story, Deborah encouraged her, suggesting a shift in perspective. By telling her story, one isn't just trying to sell something but rather helping superiors and colleagues understand their roles better, thus advocating for deserved recognition and resources for their team. Finally, the last example is about building a broader social network. The importance of networking is self-evident, as an effective network can create a virtuous cycle, making you more visible, valued, thereby enhancing your power and status. To efficiently expand your network, the book suggests valuing your weak ties. These are casual acquaintances we encounter in life. A study by sociologists found that most jobs are obtained not through formal applications but via informal information shared through social connections, often through weak ties. The author reminds us that compared to strong connections like family and close friends, weak connections often have diverse backgrounds, experiences, and circles. So, effectively utilizing these weak ties exposes us to a broader perspective, information, and opportunities, potentially enabling us to transcend social boundaries. Another suggestion for networking is to become a structural whole, a connection between two networks. If there's no existing connection between two networks, it creates a structural hole. For example, between different departments in a company. If you can bridge these departments, you occupy that structural hole. Whether it's between companies online or industries offline, structural holes can exist. The larger the structural hole you occupy, the greater the benefits between connected networks. Apart from these, there are some common reminders. For instance, if you want someone's help, don't make vague requests. The more specific and grounded your request and reasons, the faster others will understand how to assist you and provide useful resources. Also, dedicate specific time each week to manage your social connections. Although online contact doesn't compare to face-to-face interactions, it's better than none. Maintaining relationships, especially weak connections, doesn't require intense or in-depth communication. Even casual conversations, sharing interesting articles, or commenting on a friend's post with birthday greetings can be effective. Above are the key points I wanted to share from the book, 7 Rules of Power, summarized. This book tells us that power isn't a dark art. In the workplace, it can be a survival tool, a protective armor, and a leverage of capability. Today, our focus was on how to enhance one's workplace power, a process of breaking before establishing. Breaking mainly involves shattering the imposter syndrome, letting go of the obsession with winning others' favor, and breaking norms. Establishing, on the other hand, focuses on creating a high-power posture, building a strong personal brand, and expanding social networks. Apart from these, the last chapter in the book discusses how to maintain and use power if you already possess it. For those interested, they can explore the corresponding ebook or hard copy for further reading. This book teaches us that the ability to acquire power isn't an innate talent but a skill that can be cultivated. Some may perceive these skills as insincere disguises, but the author views them as tactics. In the world of power, while one person may not be inclined to network or promote themselves and believes in a slow but steady approach, their competitors might employ various strategies to expand their power. Even if someone chooses not to use these techniques themselves, understanding them can be necessary. And if you decide to strive for power, don't feel uneasy. As the author puts it, if we want power to be used well, we need more good people to wield it. Striving for power fundamentally involves staying resolute in pursuing one's goals, even in the face of opposition, setbacks, and failures. Having this determination decides whether one can reach the pinnacle of power. Congratulations on completing another book. Thank you all for your support and attention. Please subscribe to the Tim Booker channel, like, and share this valuable knowledge with your friends. Let's combine wisdom with action to achieve our financial goals and create a better future together. Thank you, goodbye.